Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna and you're watching Orchie D. And as promised, I'm going to do some updates for you over the next week or two. And I'm going to start with my phals because I'm quite happy with how they're progressing at the moment, and I think this is largely due to the changes I've made with the water quality and the pH adjustments, and just being, I guess, acutely aware of the nutrition that I have been giving them with my feeds. But also I wanted to show you a couple of new orchids and tell you a really interesting story behind them. So one of my friends, Olivia, who I've known since like primary school, so nearly 25 years, maybe even more, and she's moving overseas. So she's moved overseas already. She moved this week to the UK, and this is why we had my hens party last weekend, because even though I'm not getting married for a few months, I really wanted her to be at my hens, so we pushed it forward. And yes, so I have two bridesmaids. One of them organised a high tea for me in the afternoon, and Olivia organised the evening event, which ended up being karaoke. Had a great time. Anyway, so this story. So after the high tea, Olivia and quite a few like other school friends and my other bridesmaid, they went back to her place. She's packing up at the time, you know, for moving, so she just had her carpets cleaned and stuff. So she's got this cat, and beautiful cat. She was actually planning to take this cat overseas with her, and because she'd had her carpets cleaned and didn't want the cat on the carpets, she put a little cat harness on it. And it must have sort of freaked out, and it kind of tried to crawl between the staircase banisters, and so they came home from the high tea, and they found the cat had fallen between the banisters, and it had somehow sort of crawled out of the harness, but it had caught on its neck, and it had choked to death, actually. So they came home to find a strangled, deceased cat, which I can't even imagine the distress that Olivia must have went through, like finding that. And one of my other friends that they just picked up from the airport was a veterinary nurse from Melbourne, and so she did all the compressions and the mouth to nose, and yeah, the cat wasn't revivable. Yes, so very tragic circumstances, and I don't even know how Olivia got it together, but she still managed to come to my hens night a few hours late, but she came, and like, you know, that just goes to show what a close and good friend she is to me. And yes, so coming back to these two orchids. Alright, so that's the background story. So this is a phal that Olivia left me. It is in a really sorry state. I repotted it as soon as I got it home. It had one tiny little viable root and an aerial root there, which, yeah, is a little bent and broken. It is trying to push out a new leaf, if you can see in there. But yeah, so I named it Olivia as a token of our friendship, but yeah, I hope it's not like indicative of our friendship, because I hope I don't kill it. But it is now just popping out a couple of new nubbins down there. So yeah, you know, phals at least are probably one of the easier orchids to rescue, and I think I can help this one pull through, hopefully. So this other one is also a new one. I actually got it the day before my hens, and I don't normally get supermarket phals. I don't think I've gotten one in years, but yeah, I just sort of, I think I was feeling like I wanted to make the house look a bit pretty because I don't have a lot of blooms at the moment, and I really liked the depth of colour on this one, and it's actually a little bit more dark in real life than it is on camera, but anyway, yeah, so I got it. Anyway, I named it Jimi Hendrix. I named it after the cat. The cat's name was Jimmy, after Jimi Hendrix. So yeah, hopefully I don't kill either of them, because that would be bad. But I kind of like naming these no IDs after the significance that the orchid has, and if it doesn't, I like to name them after things, you know. It sort of, I don't know, gives them a bit more meaning than just a regular old supermarket phal. So this one, if you can see down here, I actually, when I repotted it, I did notice a little black mark, and I kind of ignored it. I didn't think that it would, yeah, spread, but it did. And so that whole base of this leaf was turning black. So last night I put some dragon's blood all over the area, so we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, it doesn't spread. I think it'll be a really good indicator to see if the dragon blood is effective, because this was spreading really rapidly, and so yeah, it does seem to have stopped it for today, but yeah, this is only yesterday that I applied it, so we'll see. But yeah, this one had a really decent root system actually, which is half the reason I got it. But that's the story behind my new orchids. So I'm putting a lot of responsibility on these names, but I kind of like naming these no IDs and giving them just a little bit more significance. Anyway, way too much time spent on that story. But going through the rest of them, so yeah, they're all, you know, in modes of growing new leaves, and what I wanted to kind of show you is actually their root systems. So they're doing really well. So a couple of them have been in flower up until, say, December, and when they're in flower, I often just put them in a spot that's sort of nice for me and my partner to enjoy, but as a result, it often gets sort of missed in watering and they get a little bit neglected. So let me show you just a few examples of them. This one, so this is at the front door for ages. If I have a picture, I'll put it up, but you know, it started growing some secondary spikes, so it was in flower for ages, and I finally lost all its flowers maybe at the beginning of the year. It didn't have any visible roots in the pot when I put it back in here, and look, all these are new roots which are developing. You can see this is one that I actually repot back in May last year, so it's had all that time to develop a really good root system, but instead it's just these last couple of months that it's been doing that, and all these new roots that are coming in from the base. Yeah, so you know, it's growing this new leaf as well, which I'm almost certain will overtake this one. This is another one that just sort of came out of flower probably like in December, and yeah, pathetic little leaf there. This one was kept in my partner's bathroom. But this is the new leaf that it's growing, and again, it didn't have much in the way of roots that you could see, but yeah, this is in the last month and a half, growing lots of new roots up the top here. So yeah, so these are two examples of ones that have only sort of started reaping the benefits for about a month. But yeah, the rest of them, you can see, have been working on lots of new roots, and you can tell they're new. I mean, they're bright green, they've got these active root tips. It's, yeah, really happy with whatever's happening at the moment. This is another one. So this is one that I repot out of leca back in November because I haven't been happy with the leca, and it just went absolutely nuts. It is loving the changes, absolutely loving the changes. This is a big phal, really stiff leaves, so it is taking a little bit of time to grow this leaf, but growing steadily. But I'm really happy with it. I've named this one Stella, after one of my grandma's sisters that passed away. Actually, this is a phal that my grandma gave me. So my grandma's given me quite a few phals, and her sisters have the cutest names. So my grandma's Lorraine, and her sisters are like Daphne, Stella, Thelma, Gladys. So yeah, my orchids are getting named after her and her sisters. This is Belladonna, and this just came out of, lost its flower spike like last week. So it was in flower for ages. So it hasn't quite started on its new leaf yet. But yeah, it's also doing pretty well. And I'll put a picture of the flowers up, but they ended up being quite fragrant, which was a nice surprise. Got a few more phals on my windowsill here, which I'm really happy with all of them. This is actually a brand new one, so I saw it on eBay. Phal equestris, and I got it only a month ago. Oh, that's a bit dyslexic, isn't it, Deanna? On the 81st of the 1st, so obviously on the 18th of the 1st. But yeah, not much to say about this. It actually, after a couple of days, started developing a little bit of an infection, and yeah, used that dragon's blood again, and I just really love this dragon's blood product. It just works so well. So it dries off. You can see it still looks runny, but it's actually dried off like almost like a bit waxy, like, so it's a sap, so it's dried off like a sap would. It sort of, I don't know, it just works really well for stopping these infections in their tracks, because you can see the yellowing around there. It just means the tissue was drying off a bit. And yeah, put it on and stopped immediately, killed off everything. So yeah, if you guys haven't heard of dragon's blood, Ed from Ed's Orchids is really into it, and that's where I got the idea from. I ordered it off eBay. A lot of people have been asking, but yeah, I just got it off eBay, and the one I got is actually for human use, so for human like wounds, and yeah, it's just make sure it's like 100% sap, and I don't think you can really go wrong. But yeah, really happy. You only need a tiny bit, so a little bottle will last for a really long time. This is Phalaenopsis, so it is a species, and yeah, again, amazing, really happy with the root growth. So you can see like sometimes the darker ones, actually it's a bit hard to see in this light, maybe I'll turn around a little bit, but yeah, this is older roots, but you can see the bright ones, they're all new. So yeah, happy with this seedling. And over here we've got my variegated cutie. It was in semi-hydro for ages, and I swapped it over the same time as that other one, so in November, and yeah, it's grown this leaf. But more impressively, again, the roots, I just can't stop looking at them. I check them all the time. I'm just really pleased with the root growth. Down on this bottom shelf here, we've got a couple of no IDs. This is not a no ID. This is Phal Allura Vesuvius. I'll put some photos up if I've got photos of these orchids, but you know, happily growing. It's growing this one, and it's growing this one this season. Again, the roots. The roots just tell the whole story. Look at it. You can tell how proud I am, can't you, like, of this root growth, because it really has been, you know, it can't be a coincidence. It really is in response to the changes that I've made, I feel. So this is another one that actually spent about the last month in my partner's bathroom. So it replaced that other one that I showed you. And yeah, now that I keep a lot of orchids upstairs, it's actually a bit easier to remember the ones that are in his bathroom. But it didn't rest at all, so I got it in flower, you know, in April last year, and then as soon as it lost those flowers, it grew this tiny leaf, and then it started flowering again. So it wasn't an impressive bloom at all. It had like 3 flowers on it. But it started getting those pH adjustments and stuff as well in the last 3 months, and again, I'm just pleased as anything with the root growth on this. You can see up the top all these roots that have all the active root tips. Yeah, so again, another one that I'm very happy with. Now for this one. So this is actually another one. This is another Phalaenopsis, Victoria's Glory. It's got the yellow flowers, and I'll put them up. So it only sort of lost its blooms probably around New Year, so it was also forgotten a few times, and yeah, so it's only been consistently getting the same feeds as everyone else for about 6 weeks. But again, it didn't have very many. It did have some roots. It didn't have a bad root system, is what I'm trying to say, but you know, it's just sort of exploded along with the others in the last 6 weeks. The Sogo Euclidean, which hasn't bloomed for me yet, and I hope it does soon. This guy's just a pleasure. It's a nice looking phal. But yeah, same story here. Very happy with its roots. And another little mini phal, which is going great guns. This is my sad sack phal shelf. So I actually haven't a repotting video of this one, and it was looking fine, but actually I've like accidentally dropped it like 3 times, and it's unpotted. And one time, like, I just sort of shoved everything back in because I was in a rush, and yeah, I didn't realize it had some massive air gaps, and yeah, it kind of suffered, and I think it lost quite a few roots, which is why it's all dehydrated at the moment. And this one, this is actually an orchid I got from my friends when my my dog Sebastian passed away in the middle of last year. So yeah, it was looking okay, and then when I unpotted it, maybe I just left it a little bit too long, but it had so many dead roots, so yeah, it didn't have that many viable roots, and so yeah, it just got a bit dehydrated. But this one I did just leave the flower spike on. Not everyone agrees about chopping off flower spikes or not. I don't know, I do it sometimes when I feel that the plant is kind of doing the wrong thing, like it's focusing on making new flowers and branching instead of putting energy into making new leaves and stuff, like, because I think some of these complex hybrids, they get a bit confused and they don't quite know what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, I sort of do it on a case-by-case basis, but if I think, you know, the plant's going to be okay, and it won't be dependent on diverting energy, then I'll just, you know, sometimes keep the flower spike. But yeah, this one's pulling through with lots of new roots coming through, and yeah, you can see a few roots sort of poking through there, so I think it's going to be fine. So this is the orchid that I dropped like 1,000,000 times, and you can see no visible roots. So it's a one that, you know, will be useful to keep an eye on. It's sort of growing this root, which is going down, which is nice. But it actually lost a couple of leaves, and it didn't lose the bottom leaves. It lost the leaves in the middle. And when I finally got like the sheathy bits off that were left behind, I've noticed like all these roots, and they look really weird, don't they? But they're roots that have been trying to, you know, usually they can push through the leaves basically, and they emerge from, they break the leaves and they sort of come through, but these were all getting stuck. It's like it doesn't quite get through the leaves. So yeah, it's probably why those leaves sort of came off as well, because all these roots were trying to push through. But yeah, so these are attempted roots that haven't developed, they've gotten stuck, but hopefully you can see they're all starting to get some active tips happening now, so hopefully they'll sort of start to establish. So the last phal that I want to talk about is this DTPS hybrid, which has been in flower for forever, absolutely forever. And I will show you the flowers when they first emerged, because they look completely different now. So they were a much darker, like all round. They were pretty much a solid velvet red colour, and now they've got a definite white border, and as they move further and further distally, we're getting more white in the flowers. I think that's really fascinating. So this is actually the third flush of blooms. It's my last plant in semi-hydro, and I'm dying to repot it into bark medium, and for months I've just been saying, oh, I'll just wait till it finishes blooming, but now it's on its third flush of blooms. But I last week had some mealy bugs like stuck in, you know, where these old flower bits are, and I found lots of mealy bugs in between the leaves. You can sort of see where I've been mucked around a little bit trying to get those bugs out, given a really good spray, but I can see now that, look at that, they're sort of coming back, and in here I've got lots of, you know, little white specks of I don't know what. I've already sprayed it multiple times with hydrogen peroxide, but it obviously extends down into the media. I don't know if I've got a few dead roots in there. In fact, I don't know what's in there. So yeah, I really think it's time now to repot it. This is a new leaf that's growing in here. So it is, you know, I think it's overall, like, it does look healthy. It hasn't lost any leaves and it's doing okay, but it's obviously got some sort of weakness, and it's getting infested with these bugs. So yeah, despite the pretty little flowers that keep coming out of it, I think I'm going to have to just do what I've been meaning to do and get it out of that leca. Anyway guys, I know that was a long update. I think you can really tell in my voice how proud I am of this root growth and how they're doing, and I just wanted to share that with you. So yeah, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more orchid videos. I hope you guys have a great week and happy growing until I see you next time. Bye.